limit the play. It wasn't entirely played against. Last time, they didn't really do as much of the blinds. Now they won't do any. Ying is removed. This is it. The responses to each other is sort of that sign of respect of, you are the best at this style of push. You are fantastic at this style of push and this style of hold. How do we limit you in this engagement? Monty.
For sure. The Monty is open, but if you start thinking about the map, it's not really the map that leads itself to the best of Monty's abilities, right? Of course, there's definitely still uses you can get out of it, but often when you see a shield, it's a blitz that's rushing down blue. And I won't put it behind Cyclops from actually doing that in 1 or 2 rounds. They are going to be on the attack, so we might actually do see that happen. And, you know, maybe we even do see the Monty coming out every single round from Anaton to make a statement that if you do not ban Monty, you're kind of throwing against us. Either way, we're getting underway with the last map of this matchup here. 2 more points to be given away. Both these teams currently have a 1 on the board. Let's see who's going to be taking that home. Now, BDS starts off on the defense. They are going to the basement first. That is all basically default. There's no true weird question about that. As we look at the picks.
There isn't. No, we go down to
There is a Monty for now, but...
There is a Monty for now. I mean, this is the thing about Anaton, and I hope we truly get an explanation because, you know, if Siege is an aspect of 2 things. There's 2 big circles with Siege. One of them is the practice, the prep, the preparation, the conversation. The other one is how you play on the day. And the intersection is the result that you get. Us picking up Anaton and why so many teams ban Monty, sometimes Monty doesn't quite hit the mark anyway, regardless of whose hand it's in.
The overlay is saying that there's no drones left, but I refuse to believe that because I see one jumping around.
Yeah, the overlay sometimes deceives you.
Yeah, it has been deceiving us here.
Oh, there we go. 3 of 5.
There we go. Okay, so only 2
We just had to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's, I don't know, something to do with the friendly fire not being active because all of the gadgets were gone as well.
Yeah, it could be.
Who knows? What we do know is Likefak set himself up in shower corridor, waiting for an approach here, and this is what you'll often see, a bit of an aggressive lead in, but also just draw attention. You can waste a lot of time, you can run a bit of a route. We talk about how there are similarities to Clubhouse. This side has started to get a bit of a reputation for having a top floor hold. Not a hold truly per se, but mobile utility is a big part of the current game, and our Cully cuts it in half. Gets the take, gets the lock in. There's a couple of mute jammers either side, but he's hoping to see if he can roll straight into a second engagement. The hatch drop could come through above him. He's waiting for the pressure. There's a bit of a drive down onto Zulu. The corridor right at the bottom of White Stairs, and Likefak's trying to see if he can dig himself a route out. But look, there is also a watch coming through on the far end. Anaton, he's holed up. He's waiting for any route the player takes. Renshiro can't really offer too much support. Digs his way out. There's pings on the player and the rappel that comes up. So they just Grizmod it off and Gooman in hope. But what an early strike here for Cyclops.
Yeah, for sure. You lose security, and that means that the players up top certainly don't have the support anymore. They need to fall back into secondary positions. It's exactly what Likefak is doing. But also the players below certainly cannot really rely on that being a stronghold anymore. So truly we have one isolated player right now to the rest of the BDS hold. And it's up to Likefak to see whether or not he can make it back. But as flashbangs come through, Likefak is going to be known. Anaton aware of the area, or at least position that he's in. But Likefak goes for the swing, finds the kill, and instantly digs into Armory.
What else can he do? No impact to open a rotation next to him, but 2 barricades in his pocket if he really wants to bunker down. He's trying to draw attention. I guess there's more than one way to make an omelette. That one doesn't quite land the mark. It goes a bit wide. It's a bit of damage done. The pull of the pin out of his pocket. The hatch doesn't get opened by a grenade. He was almost gifted a lifeline incidentally there, but look at the structure on that door. That's a man that's done a little bit of DIY and enough to build a bit of an angle. Takes a lot of damage. In the meantime, Arcully gets his second as Shaiko gets 1 off the board. There's 3 for Arcully, and he finally gets down. Blackray gets 1 in exchange, and Shaiko, he is all that is left here. Needs to find 2 more for his 4K. The slow creep round to the back of the Habana. Blackray needs to try and find someone to support, and you can see Shaiko, he's tucked up there, trying to piece together where he is. They don't really have too much of an idea, so Suzuki is just going to sit and wait patiently for Blackray's call here. The flash comes round underneath. Blackray has the lockdown, and Cyclops, for the 3rd map in a row, get the opening round.
Well done there by Cyclops to convert that round in the end. BDS, they made it quite close to some extent. And Shaiko, he did do the right thing. You know, he was trying to listen for a bit of a sound cue so he could act upon it, but was a bit too slow. gave time for the player to come towards the back stairs and again have that little bit of a pinch maneuver that we have been talking about time and time again that will just shut you down. BDS going for another laundry one though. They are running it back just to make sure that, well, what happened there earlier on, that is going to be the main driving force to rerun this, because that's an early kill that basically throws off the entire hole that you might have been able to pull up, and that's all gone. The entire round is basically null and void in terms of having your strategy tested. And that's why they rerun it. They want to make sure that it actually works. They know it works, but they just need to be a little bit more careful on that middle floor.
Monty baited and swapped out for the second time in a row. They start there, and then they move on to something slightly different. We also have, obviously, the quick zip possibility here. It can be a good drive towards top floor players. We can have those, but we're not going to have them at the start. Pretty much all of the BDS players have got themselves set up for strategy B, which is, all right, let's give them the top 2 floors. It's a very valid way of holding it. Hey, remember when I talked about Clubhouse having the adaptation of going to the top floors many times ago? Well, there's a quick fight that almost nets them. The catch, Likefak is somehow slipping away there. There was one body that was offered to them. But as once upon a time, Church and Arsenal was held on the bottom, this site can be done in exactly the same manner for just as much success.
He just escaped with his life like 3 times in 5 seconds there. He should have been dead at that point. It's just that the lack of information. Cyclops wasn't ready for a player being out there. They thought it was going to be clear, and that's why they lost it eventually. Breach coming through though, opening up the hatch that will lead
Twitch
into
drone, run!
Yeah, don't stay close.
Get out of there!
Anaton is pinging, though, what needs to be opened up. So he's eyes yelling from the Twitch drone here. So I'm okay, you need to open up this, you need to open up this.
Yeah, it's like a little teeny tiny Anaton in there that's just sort of leading the fight. Cully was able to get a big opening 3-piece. Gator.
He fell off.
He fell off.
Yeah.
You can see him struggling. Oh, no! Oh, maybe. Cully gets one. There was a second player that seemed to swing around. They didn't go all the way through. They were seconds away from saving them. At least they got a trade. Renshiro gone. The Jaeger. Well, it's not the worst one to lose in this situation. They do still have the control and what needs to be played later on in the round. The pop through and the stretch, and well, there's an angle to get that hatch open and force the freezer players to play in trickier situations across the border server, but still, that's not really how you want iGator to be removed from a round.
No, not really. Just slipping accidentally and being being picked up as a result.
Yeah, Cyclops.
Fortunately, though, Garahook not that effective on the bottom floor. It's good to take some quick ground, but that's going to be about it. Same goes for Ensure. You place your utility and you're gone. Shaiko finds our Curly somehow thinking to be inside already. Yeah,
fantastic take there from Shaiko, playing a spot that is named after him, ready to swing and rock and roll from either side. He doesn't have the support of Pillar as of this, and look at the drop. But as soon as he's stuck, he's looking for a fight to come around, pre-fires the knees and the angle. There's nowhere he can really go, so they open the field up. Gets the spray on Likefak in the meantime, luckily across the board. Shaiko pushes, cannot handle the recoil. It just whiffs over the head of the player. It's not the easiest, and now Black Ray slips his way past the shield. Shaiko still doing damage and has the kit at his feet. And has the last taken out. One apiece. Hey, Cyclops, they always get the first round. Hey, BDS, they always got the second throughout this series right back.
BDS responding as well, rerunning laundry there, realizing a slight mistake cost them the round very early on in that in that round, wanting to basically improve on that. And even though we did have a bit of a slip up from Aegader on the Hammerud, it does happen every now and then. Probably wanted to land on the beam, but you know, just missed it. Just missed the mark.
Attackers need to locate.
Went all the way down the stairs, got picked up for it. At least the trait still came out of it. So, you know, Cyclops in the end didn't really lose too much with that slip up.
It's a new
tactic.
New banana peel operator.
Oh yeah. Oh, is that what the drone in the teaser was?
Okay, whoop.
Throws down banana peels.
Oh yeah, there was.
Everybody thinks
that would
it's
be
like
so funny. I would love that. It would. So obviously, there's been a recent trailer, a teaser for what will come as an announcement of the newest team to join the ever-growing story and repositioning of our wonderful operators throughout this game. There was a drone in that. There was a drone in that you might not notice, realize and recognize, but it's there.
It's definitely there, so if you haven't seen it, you should, after this game, take another look at the trailer.
Yeah. It's actually quite blatant. You probably did notice it.
Yeah, if you...
It's full frame.
If you haven't noticed, you probably L-tap whilst in range instead of being on your drone.
Yeah. It's very obvious. But we'll hopefully get a little bit more of that. Probably. Later on. For now, look at this, a fight over the top. They have the pings on the player, the blinds on the lems. He's going to see if he can swing somewhere. It's a lot of noise. They're tucked low, and they almost win it out. Iagator late to get the lock in. Anaton does find Ranchiro at the same time. Our Cully is looking for a fight against Shaiko on the far end, but that is an explosive bout of control here onto Tower. At the bottom of it, Efak, he's looking up wantingly towards a fight that might come, but with the drone out, with the man advantage, and with the danger that's otherwise coming across, there is a slip through there, catch on the mute jammer, and they got to pull themselves back round. Shaiko gets a bit of width, pre-fires across the board. See if he can get some pressure, and Efak as a loose danger. What can he do?
But to at least find one of the roaming Cyclops players, otherwise come back towards the site, defend it with his life. Cyclops, they're not slowing down. Already having one round on the board, now 2-minute advantage on the third one that we're playing. I know whilst we had the little break, I went over towards the analyst desk, and Jacob said, you're witnessing Anaton winning the 6th Invitational. So,
Jacob said that?
Yeah, Jacob said that. Jacob is now convinced that Cyclops is going to be winning the 6th Invitational.
Is that a curse?
It could just as well be. Shaiko goes down.
Yeah, Shaiko got caught by the curse, but Likefak has the cover and has himself caught as well. Bride, all that's left now is the two others get cleaned up. A 4 versus 1. He is a man, he's a myth, he's a legend, he's a danger. And he's able to get the first fight there at the top of white, but he has a minute to see if he can survive the rest. Just blinded and has to pull his way off the watch towards trophy. He's still sort of jiggle peeking the dangerous door here, and with everything else otherwise stacked in front of him, will they rotate their way around? They do still have pocket utility. And are we about to see a bit of it roll out? The C4 towards the top of white does not get a bite, but they're going to go for the plant. They have the cover. They have the round. Cyclops, they're second. They're one up.
Yeah, the quick run from the thermite came in as Bride was too busy tossing out that nitro cell towards the white stairs. And I get why he did that, because he didn't really have any of the information. If he was able to find a kill, he knew it was going to be clear. If he didn't, he also knows it's clear and can suddenly focus on the other two areas, being pit, being the trophy door. But it was just too late, and as a result, they sneaked through. They already had the cover up and running, and there was nothing he could do. And Cyclops, they find themselves in another lead. And BDS, sorry, I was about to say BDS, but that's not correctly true as of yet, are continuing their tradition of returning to the site they have just lost, as they're going for the top floor again, realizing there's something they can do to improve on it, maybe going for an alternate hold here to find themselves in set position where they are able to get that advantage earlier on. Because Cyclops, they have been on point so far. They have been able to hunt down any lone players from BDS. And even if they aren't, they've been able to just cut down the players on the side itself as well. So BDS truly should be worried about the way Oregon is currently going.
It's early doors. Every single map so far has been a bit of a back and forth between the two teams. In fact, this is absolutely mirrored of all of the previous two maps as well. Depending on how this round goes, could be the break from tradition. BDS have traditionally got themselves back to a 2-2 across both, regardless of how the map ended up going. So here, Cyclops, they can drive themselves just one more ahead here, back onto the double down on Dorms. It could be a slightly different story. They proved a lesson learned before, though, BDS. This one might be a different tactic. The pressure from small tower rather than big, no quick play, and who's that in the pocket of a Lems? Man that's good at stopping smokes, but that's not really what's going to be played here. Instead, 6 frag grenades are going to start trying to cook up a problem in kitchen.
Oh, Lems gets the first away, Gator shut down, and it's going to be 2 of those grenades off the board instantly. Another 2 already used, meaning there's only 1 in Arcully and 1 in Black Ray's pocket left, and where they probably wanted to go for some fishing down below to see if they could find an opening, suddenly it's turned into something more dire. But Anaton, luckily, is going to be allowed to play the Montaigne. One issue he has, though, is that there's someone behind the bunk beds on his left and there's someone playing on the corner on his right, so doesn't really have a clear-cut way through. His impacts are being tossed his way to see if they can deal just a small amount of damage.
Anaton, he's got himself prepped up and locked at the top of white stairs. He's just going to play problem child for now. Draw their focus, draw them in. There's smoke canisters to be used against him, but there's a lot of explosives to come through first. They know that he can't really dig himself in properly and confidently. He can get a couple of steps, but from that, you've still got to do more. He's baiting a fight and attention, and there's the first smoke canister, bounces off the shield, but the radius still does the job it needs to. Akali looking for the fight on the back of the bed, sees the shoulder. They don't have to fully extend, but when you know that grenades might follow up, there's one bounced off the wall, does a lot of damage, not quite enough, but it allows Black Grey to move up behind them. Anaton, the next smoke canister pops off, a minute left, and there's still one in the pocket, the shield. He sees one at the bottom of Zulu, gets the block onto the Nitro, but he gets Black Grey behind him, and a bit of a devastating blow there. The call and the damage just enough to get it on the back of the shield.
Still going well for Cyclops this round. BDS definitely looking to bounce back. Anaton now on 10 HP, well, probably even less. Let's give it like 1, make it 0. It's going to be only up to Akali now in a 1v5 situation. An ace clutch within 35 seconds is what he needs to put on the board if he wants to win this round, but what will most likely become a tactical timeout of sorts. No, not even that. A flawless round for BDS as he jumps in from the white window. It's going to be allowing BDS to just fight back.
Still the exact same scoreline we've had in the first 2 maps. It's actually the next round where things started to differ. In Skyscraper, where BDS took it, they took the 2 in a row. In Border, where it was CAGs, they took the next back. So, as weird as it is, this could turn into a telling round. It's also the first time we've had this sort of doubling down of sites as well, and we go back to Laundry. 1 apiece, 1 win each. Which face will we see from both teams, to be fair? They keep pulling out their A strat and their B strat. We're seeing different holes, different lockdowns, and different extensions. There was the second time round almost the early take against EFAC. Would that have changed the face? Maybe not. Shaiko popped off, and they had 4 players alive by the time the round ended, I believe. So they were still quite comfortable, but still, those early moments can shape a little bit more.
It definitely could. As we head back to Laundry, we'll find out whether or not it does. BDS, I'm looking to see if they're going for any different kind of take than they did in the 2 rounds before, but doesn't seem to be the case. This time, Liquefact going up a bit quicker. There was no Amaro on the board, so nothing to really be afraid of. Scans are being checked, just to try and figure out where the main attack is going to be coming from, but quickly all those default cams that side should be shot by Cyclops. And an early RC Rotero is coming in from blue and barrels, looking to see if there's any utility he can find. There's a shield there, but Brede was paying attention. Takes it out, makes sure that that shield stays at least, and now Shaiko is ready to challenge barrels as well.
Yeah, 2 shields, 2 cross angles, attacking blue against BDS is deadly. It's not in any sense easy. It's nothing that can be pieced together here. They're going to see if they can, I guess, get some grab. EFAC suffers against Anaton, though. Pulls himself back around Freezer. They pushed hard, got a quick take, and then pulled themselves back. Renshiro almost gets caught out as well. Black Grey playing against the Jaeger. The angle doesn't quite work in their favor here, and well, there's a first take, but first takes can not always lead to the success. They've still got to see if they can try and get some of the rested control across the map and the site itself. They're cautious, which is a growth that's come from this Cyclops throughout the showdown with BDS, where they can't entirely trust what is ahead of them.
Minute 45. Shaiko waiting behind his shield, Renshiro on the back stairs, just putting up some pressure. Cyclops still desperately looking to find an entrance. Now, some scars are going to be popping off. It's going to be dividing some of the attention that BDS has, but nothing really to be worried about as of yet. Of course, the entry kill that is on Cyclops' hand is going to be quite helpful, but they will need more than that. And within the next 80 seconds as well, because they will start to, well, have to start to push, but they don't really have any control horizontally, and that means they will start dropping down these hatches, and every time that happens, they just get shut down by a player in barrel, so they need to shut that down quickly.
What are they piecing together, Cyclops? Well, Shaiko is piecing together Akali's head, pulls himself back against the E-Box and takes one for the trouble, and then rotates back to his favored position with the shield still intact. The Flores, it's able to at least get 1 shield there, force the player to a slightly different situation, but to be fair, he still often plays it without that shield there. Anyway, Gator, he's trying to drive some attention, but with 45 seconds, there's only so long that you can do this. Flashed by his own petard and Lems. Well, he's able to hoist the rest of the round. Black Grey tucks himself, goes for the replacement position here. There's the player that can swing around from the corridor itself. There is a bit of wiggle room and motion. They have either side. Suzuki takes the drop onto Moto and is able to take one right inside. The kit, well, there's the swing. There's the little tuck corner that gets rid of them. Shaiko still locked in. A 3 versus 1 now as he has just dominating that position. Black-Grey seen there by the Bulletproof on the far end, and Alems sees that through. 3-2, BDS tie 2 rounds in a row and take the lead.
Well done there by BDS, and that means they now are in control of the match again as well. And you mentioned it before, like the place, or at least the door towards the blue area is called Shaiko. It's called Shaiko for a reason.
Yeah.
He plays it with such confidence, with such comfort is probably what's most important. It's just almost impossible to make him feel any discomfort there. I think you really need to try with bringing incendiary bolts, with bringing flashbangs, with just truly wasting everything that's out there. But then you still have Bride on the other side that's near elbow that will shut down anybody that tries to make a run for him. So he's just in a good spot there, and there's not much they can do against it. But maybe open up the hatch and then try and open up the E-box a bit more to make sure he cannot play there. And that's something that Cyclops hasn't done in that last round.
Okay, Cyclops, can you put yourself back to an even half here and see if you can try and keep this level? Oregon does work well for both attack and defense. It can be a very malleable map. It's why you see it so gosh dang much, especially in the these are the best of ones that we have in our seasonal tournaments. It allows teams to be able to structure good plays on both. It can feed different play styles well as well. You can see that, you know, it's sort of naturally reined both teams in towards a slightly more direct route. EFAC has himself stretched and with a little bit of a pixel swing there, hoping to catch somebody loose, but nothing comes through. And the longer he sits in shower corridor, the more likely he is to get himself washed.
Just sending out a wild stray as well. You never know if you hit someone whilst moving away. Something that was discussed earlier as well. If you can go for a wallbang, you have enough ammo and they know where you are, why not just attempt it? You might just find yourself with a kill. Either way, Arcullion inside of trophies, looking to go quickly over this top floor with a bit of support. There is someone close onto the arcade though.
A very quick barricade from the Kiba knife there gets them locked in and locked out. They try to swing themselves straight through onto the fight, and EFAC is doing everything to buy them time. Pulls back, and that has been very, very well played there by the recent French addition to the roster. Cut CAG's approach, cut them off. French Hero does get caught by Anderton on the far end, but the route that they wanted to try and drive through does get locked off. So they've had to slow themselves a little bit here and come up with a plan B. Shaiko, he's watching down from the side in the swing of Split. They're not really paying too much attention towards the push onto Meeting as of this moment, which is obviously the chance of Meeting or Kitchen. Usually, if they're going for the control over the top, it sort of heralds the idea and waves the flag for a plant down inside Kitchen. Halem's suffering next as the lead-in. Gives a bit of an idea here, as does the pressure around seating. They're going to see if they can drive open the top, force Bride and Shaiko out of their positions with the Lem still in pit, and Arcully, well, actually no, he's dropped out. Arcully has the control there.
Top floor has been abandoned as well, completely by BDS now, so the remaining members all onto that first floor. Likafak has been droned out though, and that means he's not going to be able to make the run for security or prevent some, well, support towards Bride as well, because he's currently finding himself in probably the most precarious situation. There's going to be a player in dining, there's going to be a player close around the showers corridor as well, and they're coming up from above, so truly he's going to be the next to be taking some form of gunfight, well, at some point rather than sooner than later.
Here it is, Bride with the swing round, gets Black-Grey, but Anderton is able to keep that thread alive. Puts the pressure back onto them as Alems. He's looking for somewhere to try and hot-foot it to and try and put some hot feet back into the fire against them. Bride, he's now tucked into the split side, swings onto Zulu, cannot quite get the catches there, watching from the hatch, but Alems gets Anderton and makes things a little bit more dangerous with 30 seconds left for the approach here. Ayagator, though, finds Bride, leaves just Alems, tucked on the corner, tucked on the corridor, tucked all around him, and tucked in 3 apiece.
Well done there by Cyclops to just remain calm, try and play for that plant, having the cover ready over Meeting. But I mentioned it before, Bride was playing inside that kitchen. They were all collapsing around him. They were coming in from dining, they were coming in from above, they were coming in from the showers corridor. It was just a moment of, well, a matter of time before they finally fell. And now it is a 3-3 and a site swap coming through. Cyclops now on the defense. And again, we see the Solace coming out, at least for now. An operator that has seen quite a lot of play so far during the 6th Invitational, also has netted some kills, has been netting quite a lot of information coming through as well, so far, very solid operator on this playground.
Talking of solid operators,
Solids, yeah.
We haven't seen too much Solace in the showdown, which is...
Not in the showdown, no.
No, and it's a... I'm not going to say it's an overall abnormality. We haven't had all the games of the day. We've only really been able to watch, you know, as many as we can watch, because there's ones that are going on whilst we're casting. But Solace has been pretty prevalent in the showdowns that we've been able to keep our eyes on. Apart from this one comparatively, okay, you know, she's a new addition, she's a new operator, she can do what she can do, and that's that. Control those drones, control the intel, make things a bit awkward, and the P90, as proven throughout the day, has been a heck of a gun in the right hands.
Now, our Arcula just took down the drone of Alems, who was ready to ascend the tower quickly, and he still is. Just waiting for the confirmation to come through from his teammates, but Sola's still out there. Arcula near the attic. Is it going to be able to respond? Here's the rappel in. Sees the player, takes him down as well. Cyclops. What I do not understand is they take down the initial drone, still get the kill, like, because they rappel in. It seems like a slight oversight on BDS's side.
EFAC holding off close and waiting for somebody to try and make a bit of a presence here. It's the Nook that is laying in wait and bait. We talked about this on the previous maps. Is it's sort of the game that they learned about Cyclops was, well, Cyclops like to sort of swing themselves round. Tucked on a corner, ready to put some aggression in, is how it sort of swings its way in, and they give themselves just a little bit more of a modicum of control. Now, EFAC, what can you do if you're actually trying to put the pressure onto the site? They're on a cam. They have no idea. EFAC slipped themselves in so close, and they've done it absolutely silently. If this has gone uncontested, oh, it hasn't. Suzu C just got wind of it, and Shaiko gets the head of Anaton, trying to break the way across the position that he held them off for such a long period of time. The super aggressive swing of TK goes down. Blackray picks up the pieces. A disaster has struck on the back end, and now Shiro has to try and piece his way through what actually could have been a great BDS response.
Okay, so there's a lot of things that did not really go BDS's way in this round. Let's start it off with Alem's drone being taken down and then still repelling in, being taken out quickly by Arculi, who's been out there. After that, we have Likafak, who found himself close to the side, but was afraid someone was actually pushing in from the back, and then got punished for it as soon as he looked over. And after that, we have Shaiko trying to put something back on the board. He will find one. He's about to go for his second kills. He's being pre-fired by someone with an SMG. He's about to run out, and then the team kill happens. And then the instant reply into Brita happens. And now Renshiro is sitting here like, yeah, I guess we'll just talk. 40 more seconds to discuss, because he's not going to be making a move for a round win here. He's just waiting because the last map didn't really go their way. This map has been quite contested by Cyclops as well. This round, sloppy mistakes being made by BDS. Those are things they need to be cleaning up. If they go into the next one. As 18 seconds pass, it is going to be some pre-fires coming through. They seem to be aware of the side. Oh, Cyclops, the first kill comes through for Renshiro. Tries to go for a second one, but time's about to be running out. And that means Cyclops is going to be retaking that lead here in round 7, putting themselves up 4-3 on the scoreboard.
4-3, and, well, you can see the good spirits there. BDS, it also slows things down. One of the best times to try and slow things down is after a TK on a rush round and a break onto a corner that could have otherwise gone round. It was a down in the engagement, and I think that down might have come from Shaiko.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we're going to see it on the replay. First of all, I don't get this part. Just drone in. Likafak, just unfortunate timing. Shaiko going for the pre-fire. Indeed, the down did come through on the player out there. It's just that TK was decisive in that matter.
So slow it down. Take your time, give yourself that 40 seconds and go, look, it's still back and forth. You know, we know that that's a silly mistake and we're not going to make it again.
And they do know. I mean, they're a championship-winning team, so they're going to be fully aware of what's going wrong and what they need to do to change it. That's probably why they took those 40 seconds at the last round they played, because it's a 1v4, and of course, incredible gunners on the side of BDS, but if you need those 40 seconds to talk, it might be better to do that instead, rather than call your tactical timeout, because now they still have it in their hands. If this goes to overtime, they still have that tactical timeout to call to get a potential 3 points out of this game.
All right, Cyclops, 2 rounds in a row. Now we'll see if you can try and be that difference maker. It's actually the first time of these two teams hitting heads in the showdown that both teams have been able to tie at least 2 rounds in a row. It's either one or the other, and that one has been the one that wins the game. So we have a bit of a tail on and maybe a little bit more give left in this game itself. Once again, back on the Nook, back on the ability to pull themselves into this tricky situation. Black Gray trying to find a fight on his way out the door as Jaeger, but instead pulls a little bit further and further away. Gives them something to think about, but BDS isn't going to sit around and think too long. Likafak
is using the ghillie headgear here to become a bush.
He is a bush.
He is a bush now.
Likafak.
Just waiting, hoping for a rotation to come through. But our Curly is sensing it.
It's quite funny.
Go for it. Can we actually see this?
Da, da, da.
Kind of a bush.
Kind of a bush.
Yeah. It's moving out now, though.
It's out of the bush.
Been made.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, how long can you be a bush for?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, time is still ticking down, right? And time is not in your favor as a bush.
No.
No.
If there's one thing we know about plants, it takes a while.
Definitely takes a while.
But what do we know about Efek? He's not going to sit around. He's going to try and find a fight itself. Shaiko throwing some grenades up here on the corner of the pocket and the twist. The Zulu does a lot of damage to Black Gray, but unfortunately does not quite get the full bite of the player. Hey, who's that to your left? Do you know? Oh, do they know? Our Cully is tucked so dangerously close. But two ships drift apart in the night. And the grenade of EFAC is going to be there to allow LMs to break their way in.
Yo, canisters blowing up. Again, same happens.
Just keep going past each other, and Shiro does get a grenade kill there onto Ayagator. Arkali, when will you strike? Because the iron is getting, well, hotter and hotter. Shaiko, he's able to get one with a grenade as well, potentially up through the breach that they had before. They're going around on the corner. Oh, no. Just mistimes the spray. There's the reveal. They will call some support from White as well. You can see there's a player on the bottom, gets the down and gets out of there, pulls themselves back round. And Shaiko gets the lock down. They did not need to keep the swing on. Suzu C suffers in his position, stopping the push from the top of White. Anaton goes to offer some support. Shaiko is still on an absolute tear. There's the drop. There's the continuation. But Shaiko has the full stop for the sentence for a piece.
Well done by BDS there, even though we had some close moments with Arkale just missing out on a player twice or maybe even 3 times there. BDS managed to keep up the pace there and well, allow themselves to continue moving up and start taking the ground around the side and more importantly the bodies around the side without being punished for it. Almost Arkale, of course, coming in with that flank, found one, not the second.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
And now BDS equalizing that scoreline again. As the meeting and kitchen is the next site Cyclops want to defend. They're not doubling down like BDS did when they lost the site for the first time. But deciding it is time to move on. Hopefully for them to better things. As they are looking to pick up a victory here against the current reigning major champion.
Back to kitchen and meeting. And, well, if you wonder why this is often the site that teams will go for this, it's probably going to be something that we get demonstrated maybe by the take care of BDS, who do enjoy taking this. Stage becomes the big fight, the battleground. Because otherwise it's quite easy to get control of small tower, get yourself the plant in. The difference is the verticality. You need to have a bit of verticality in your control, or at least some pressure on it to get the plant off successfully here. There's backlines, there's fights, and CAG have got themselves aggressive, but that is why teams opt for this side rather than the kitchen meeting or the kitchen seating area, because of that vertical control. And as I said, often you'll see BDS quite good at putting the pressure back onto it.
And BDS are by no means out of it, and the top floor is already being approached here by Likafak, opening up into games. And if he's not being challenged enough by Cyclops, he's going to be taking that ground more than graciously. He's going to be just pushing in, trying to find any living thing out there and just put out of his misery quickly enough so that BDS is actually going to be able to find themselves with a big advantage early on in the round.
Slips their way back behind the mirror window and gets it electrified to give themselves a little bit more safety and make sure those Selmas can't just pop open the wall. We hear a bit of damage and destruction done elsewhere. Bride, they're going to step themselves in, ping the wall, and sort of say the players are behind it. Shaiko with a grenade is on an absolutely monstrous series, 15-4 on this map, and he's trying to match the pace some of the players have put down before. Black Ray, he's going to get out of there. He feels the winds are turning, and it's a dangerous one. Zygator is tucked just on the side of split. Pings come through. Shaiko gets one more. And now as the fight goes against the LMs with the lockdown, suddenly it's just Arkali left. Has to Try and ace clutch this out. Looks for the first fight. Knows it's a little bit more isolated. There it is. And there's the second. Gets rid of Shaiko on the back end, but there's still a minute 20, and they know where the player is. They're trying to find them from the verticality, and Arkali's going to just slip on by as he hears the drone roll out. There's two above, one swinging around on the far end, watching the flank drone, though. Just tucked onto the side of Shower. There it is. So they know where the player last was. They've got the break open. They get the catch. And BDS find themselves up once again, 5-4.
Shaiko refusing to lose this game so far. He's really putting up the numbers right now, making sure that BDS is known for one of their tournament favorite positions and are looking to make it that way as well. A tactical timeout will be called. Cyclops decided it is time to have that chat that BDS was able to have earlier on when they were losing a round massively. And as that means they have 45 seconds, in the meantime 30 left, to discuss tactics, to discuss what they can do to stop BDS in their tracks, to make sure that they are the ones to take the 3 points home.
I mean, both these teams know the importance of the points right now. They know that this is a really dangerous game because it sets your pace your first day. It sort of drives what is ahead of you. It drives the attention that can otherwise be paid towards the opposing teams as well. If you suddenly go from 1 foot ahead to paddling your way back, I mean, it's a difference that stems especially. Now, I can't tell you the result of the other game from this group.
Yep.
I don't want to spoil anything as well, but depending on how it goes, there could already be a team that is guaranteed ahead of either of these two teams based on the point system.
It could be, yeah, and of course it's not the end of the world considering, you know, there's 5 group stage days, you play 4 games over those 5 days.
Yeah.
So you can still, you know, beat them and catch up to them. But it's never nice to not be first after a very hard-fought victory, which would be the case for either of these two.
The Shaiko difference is pretty apparent in this game.
It is pretty apparent on this map indeed. And I was just going to mention it, you know, kill record for a single map is currently like 27. It's not out of reach. It's unlikely it will happen because, you know, we only have 3 rounds of regulation left.
Yeah, and he would have to get 11 kills to equal it.
Yeah, to equal it and then get another one. You know, but maybe if we go overtime, and it keeps his current weight.
If we go overtime, maybe. Otherwise, he has to get 2 aces.
Yeah, and then an extra kill after.
And an extra kill.
So that's what I was saying. It's like it's probably not going to be happening, but just to put in perspective on the amount of work he's putting in now right now.
If they can get Shaiko off the board early, well, doesn't seem like likely. He's putting pressure instantly towards Blackgrave. He's just going to tuck himself a little bit further away. Look at the drone game. They have the full awareness. They're not sort of letting themselves be caught by Cyclops' width game. Ranchero has the pings. EFAC has the attention paid onto Shower. They have the Jackal scans as well if they want to try and lay them down. The drone is likely still watching the rotation. There's only one route out of here, so they'll know exactly when Blackrave's gone. But you also still need to get rid of him as well. You have to put the pressure onto the player, whether you try and bounce a grenade around or not. Well, there's the reveal that the player has slipped away. You know, there's nowhere else they can go.
Not really, no. And Shaiko's going for a chase. He escapes with his life as the C4 popped off like a meter away from him. And that Jackal scan is also going to be confirming that indeed there is no one going to be left on that middle floor anymore. At least the drone is going to be there to double check it, because it's always better to get a second opinion than to just blindly trust whatever results you might have had. And that means BDS now seems to have the first and second floor both completely under control with 100 seconds left on the board. If it wasn't for Arkali just sitting up in the tower, in the big tower, waiting patiently, having to use or having the ability to use his ability to stop any drones from droning him out.
Oh, Iron Gator. Can't get the lock in, but the smoke will do the rest of the business and confirm the kill. Clever play, pulls himself back. Alems goes on the far end as well. They've lost a bit of tower control now. Arkali's able to get one off, and we talk about the importance of Shaiko. Well, now it's the importance of the remaining 3 to see if they can try and bite back where Shaiko's been able to be so monumental throughout this map as of this point. A minute on. All of them have pulled themselves back down towards the side itself. No more aggressive swing rounds, and the risks on Freezer, at least for now. Arkali is tucked into Shaiko itself, and you can see BDS is stacking themselves up for the approach on the opposite side. It's often easier, especially if you haven't really done any of the work around barrels and getting them forced out. Freezer falls, and a mirror window gets popped up. That's rotten timing, and well, EFAC pre-fires the angle. He was almost a couple of steps from being in a much more dangerous situation there, but at least can rebuild on the back end and might try and call for a bit of support from Brede.
Yeah, they can, of course, shoot it out with those Excarios, but it's going to be players around in that freezer hallway that can instantly take it off. So nothing really that they will worry about on the Cyclops side. It's going to be a lot of utility being tossed in. They know someone is stuck behind the bomb chassis. Grenade gets tossed in, should guarantee a kill. It does as well. Brings it back to a 2-on-3. Still in favor of Cyclops, but it's getting closer.
There it is, the spray over the side. Iagator finds EFAC on the box, and Renshiro hops himself up a little bit. It's the other side of the mirror window. They've used it as a bit of a spray through. It's Renshiro's, but in a 2 versus 1, Cyclops bring themselves back level, 5 apiece. After the tack timeout, both teams have now found instant success. Only one of them can get themselves over the line.
And who's going to be the first that reaches the magical 6 mark? That is proving that you have a map point, and in this case, even a match point under your belts.
5 seconds remaining.
Whoever wins 2 in the next 2 takes home the full, well, not the full 3 points anymore, but just the 3 points. If both take 1, we are headed to overtime on this final map to decide who is going to be worthy of those 3 points. But so far, both these teams, and I mean, you mentioned it before, both these teams are expected to be making it out of the groups. But they're truly making it a game right here between themselves to show and to fight who's going to be the better one of the 2. And Cyclops, they're hanging on better than I might have expected when the game started. Truly showing, and I'm just going to name someone. Arculli is fitting into the roster quite well. 10-on-7. The man is currently going, a new pickup of Cyclops, who hadn't really had the experience of any Tier 1 games before this started, before this game took off. Now it's 2 maps and a little bit under his belt.
Oh, will they be rewarded for their hubris or punished? They pull back. If we talk about how dangerous positions can be, that is often playing for their death, and somehow Iagator has been able to slip away. Okay, how does this side differ? I talked about it in brief, and usually it's control of small tower, but what makes this a bit riskier is the dependence on that sort of wiggle room that they don't really have. It's tough to bite your way back in, especially if you're going for an aggressive lead in here. Iagator is going to have to try and play his life. They're not going to see if they can waste time on small tower. They think they can try and pull the fight elsewhere. There's drones aplenty here for Iagator to take care of. They're spraying through the far end of the angles. The Azami's structuring something somewhere, but as the wall gets opened, as it always would on the approach here, how are Cyclops going to see if they can stop it?
Yeah, nothing really there to stop that wall from being opened up, and even if they did, verticality would have been taking that one out quickly. As well, you see Sludge, you see the breaching charges being used, so that wall's always going to be opened up. Just a matter of how quickly it would be. Iagator escapes a grenade right there, but he's aware of the fact that someone is still around the yellow school bus. As long as he doesn't get droned out, he might actually be able to get away with a kill here.
They're sending drones of their own. The Echo swings round. They're right close on the door. Pops and pulls back. The yellow school bus is now dangerous again. Alems, he had the call that he needs to watch for this rotation, and now they're playing their live. Catches the Echo drone, is concerned about a run out on the far end. At the same time, they're trying to offer some support, but Shaiko's inside the site. He's going around the back end, gets an easy freebie, and he looks for the second on the stairs. There's almost 3, but Suzuki is able to catch at least 1. Suddenly, though, Alems with a lot of damage, gets 1 on the back, puts them into a 4 versus 2. Anaton has a minute to see if he can try and hold off on one side, caught out on a drone. Suzuki still on the back end of showers. They're trying to offer something to holster their way back through, but BDS aren't throwing themselves at this and suffering the consequences. No, no, no. They have experience, they have the man advantage, they still have drones and intel utility, and they're going to make sure that they can punish Cyclops on the opposite end of it. The swing round, the catch on most of Anaton. There's a little bit more, but he's slinks to survive. Suzuki with a C4 catches EFAC as well. They're still trying to find the fight. Anaton takes even more damage from the long-range distance. 30 seconds have gone, and there is 1 more for Anaton. Renshiro caught out and sat down inside the seating area. Suzuki still tucked on the shield, even with the back of Shaiko breaking and ballasting his way into the site itself. They're popped with a shotgun, ready to rock and roll. 15 seconds. They're hopped round close. Suzuki, do you know how close they are? He's about to be revealed in the grander scheme of things. There's the ping. There's Bride with the pre-fire. It is just Anaton left. Looking for the first fight, looking for the cover. They know where the player is. They're pre-firing. Anaton gets the round!
What a clutch to come through, and that is going to be map and match point for Cyclops. That really came down to the wire. He finally found that headshot just moments away from that diffuser going down on the ground. And not enough time for BDS to instantly reply. They thought the showers was clear after they killed the first. But there was a second. Cyclops, 1 round away from picking up 3 points against BDS, leaving them with only 1. And it seems like the bedrooms is where they want to do it. The top floor is where they want to lock it off. Now they've lost it once before against BDS, but it is doable. Just need to hold on a little bit tighter.
Edgiest seat siege here in BDS. I mean, they have 1 round to see if they can try and pull this into overtime. I don't know if it's our first overtime of the day, but it's definitely a game that you wanted the full test of. Even with Shaiko getting into the core of the site, getting a 2K, Lem's getting 1 at the same time. The 2 versus 4 clutch by Cyclops.
Yeah, mostly Anaton as well, just
doing the business.
1 HP, doesn't care at all. Just takes the fight.
Ran past the soft and got shot through it like 4 times.
Oh, that's a bit too high, I think. Oh no, that wasn't okay. It was meant to happen. I was just gonna say, if we wanted to win now, it's a bit too high. But it's not attempting to go for that this time. Instantly wants to put a pressure onto the kids' room.
Oh, look at this, yeah, quick pressure round. They're trying to isolate the player inside Trophy and cut them off. The My Disc buys Igator a second, but doesn't keep his shield safe. The drones. Oh, you're just going to impact that, fair enough. He knows it's a bit of utility that BDS have been very good with, and Shaiko, he is determined to get into the site as quickly as possible, and that little drone is saying, whenever you're ready, mate, I'm ready to try and swing round with the cover here too. Look at that. Straight into the fray, straight into the fight. Just sees the tail end of a player, and he knows he wants to double dip and swing his way back round into that engagement, but is concerned about the catch over the top of Pit.
Yeah, the Nitro was pulled earlier on. It's not going to be catching anybody. At least, though, stalled out some time for Shaiko to go back, not to continue pushing on as he did before. His impacts are being prepared. I think they want to go and grab the exothermic if it was going to be put up. So I have a player down below as well. Brede looking to find an opening to actually go for this opening. There it is. Attempt it now. But as I mentioned, the Orc's still down below. Could just open up some verticality here.
Alems is watching. As I said before, the drone game has been very good, and they might get him if he goes a bit loose, but otherwise, with all the softs and all the attention, they're watching out the door, and Shiro. Igator does get Shaiko back, and Bride's trying to find a fight close. They pushed into the little walk-in closet. Where can you go from here? Not really very far. The flash comes, the Echo drone, they're pulling themselves back in for the support. Alems wanted to make a little bit of a surprise entrance, but caught on the camera and having to punch his way through. They don't really get the big bang at the end of it. The pop of the Echo drone, Black Ray taking a huge shoulder of damage. Igator does get himself out of walk-in closet and tucked round, but he's still itching for the fight and gets it. Red Shiro gets caught out on the back end. They're flashed again, but Suzu C wins the one across the bow of Trophy. The top of Armory Stairs falls at 4 versus 2. We saw the reverse of this the last time round. Now we might see if BDS can push it their own way. They're dead in, looking for the locked-in heat. Damage to the Mozzie. Suzu C suffers and gets dropped by Bride. Likefak finds one of his own. Brings us back to the 2 versus 2 control around Pit. The last is at the back of the site. Anaton, the man of the moment of the previous round, might find himself having to do the same with Suzu C suffering the damage. Whether they have the drones or not at this point, it's all just down to what is in front of you with the guns. Bride has the lock. Likefak might have the key. They're looking to see if they can route their way through, and Cyclops aren't giving them anything but here. The cover, the drop. Suzu C with the wide swing. Bride with a deep dive into the site. Looks for the first fight. Can't find it. Cannot find the second. And we see Cyclops felling the French giants and suddenly positioning themselves in a very good place in this group.
Look how much it means to them. They just explode into happiness there. They want to beat the major champion. They did beat the reigning major champion. And now they are looking to find themselves a way out of this.